Well, welcome all. We are thrilled to have you here for our diploma ceremony for the Master of Liberal Arts. And I want to start by saying a huge congratulations to our class of 2025. And I want to welcome the family members that are joining you and congratulate you on surviving your friends, your family, kids, your parents, depending on what that relationship looks like, getting through the advanced study of the liberal arts, because often you are engaged in the text that they are reading and ask big questions because they come out of class with such energy and such curiosity that a number of family members have felt like this was also their vicarious graduation to have survived and sometimes thrived alongside their graduates. Graduates, shortly we will be conferring your degree from the University of Chicago Graham School of Continuing Liberal and Professional Studies. And this morning I want to talk a little bit about what those words, University of Chicago and Graham School, on your diploma mean. And I want to start with the recognition that we are living in a very unique moment. It is a time of immense change, socially, economically, politically, technologically. And perhaps one of the most profound transformations is in technology, with, over your degree, the rise of artificial intelligence. And what is remarkable to me when I think about the experience you've just had is that the education you've been a part of is as vital, and I would argue even more vital today than it ever has been, even as the world so profoundly changes. And so when you think about this moment, you think about how suddenly an algorithm can produce knowledge through pattern recognition. And in a heartbeat, it can put together all of this analysis. And so it really changes what it means to know and to learn. And it changes the way we work, the way we interact, the way we engage with the world. And I would argue it amplifies the importance of a liberal arts education, because it's now more important to know how to know what information is trustworthy, and to be able to then have the courage and the initiative and the instinct around when to act on that information. And as you know, you are part of a university where our aim is around how to think, not what to think. So knowledge is everywhere now, and you have become more investigative learners so that you can really rigorously and deeply question that knowledge. You've not just learned how the world works, but how to ask questions, how to interrogate it, and how to ultimately present different competing views and come out with one that you come to and defend it deeply. And so I'll just share that while that may seem like we were set up for this exact moment, in truth, it's just us doing the very thing that the founder of this university as president, William Rennie Harper, and John D. Rockefeller, the philanthropist, envisioned right from the start. In fact, this is a letter from Harper to Rockefeller at the start of the university. Harper says he wanted to revolutionize university study in this country. And he goes on to say that the chief purpose of graduate work is not to stock the student's mind with knowledge of what has already been accomplished in a given field, and that is literally what artificial intelligence is able to do. It is able to quickly process all of the knowledge that already exists. He says that's not the purpose of graduate education, but rather, he says, so to train the student that the student may be able to push out along new lines of investigation. And so put another way, the enduring value of this university is that we engage in how to think, not what to think. And we do that in a time now of echo chambers by exposing you to competing points of view, by presenting you with deep contrasts, by making you sometimes uncomfortable with perspectives that you may not agree with, and then by asking you to come to your own views in innovative ways that add to the edifice of knowledge. And so you leave here not just more knowledgeable, although I hope that is true as well. You leave here with a new ability and foundation as a lifelong learner. And so in a world awash with information, you are more able than ever to engage and interact and thrive in that very abundant world that we're now a part of. I also want to say that that lifelong learner orientation is exactly what the Graham School on your diploma represents. We are one of the founding divisions of this university, and that's because when this was started, there was a goal not just to have that vision for education be for the traditional student, but to extend it across all ages and stages of life. And so in 1892, we began our first classes right alongside the college, and our classes were for students, and this is a quote, whose traditional occupations made it impossible for them to attend the typical liberal arts college. And so they wanted to make sure that this experience of liberal education was possible for everyone, because it not only supported you in your professional journeys, but even more deeply, it supported you in your life journeys, in your citizenship journeys, and in your own way of understanding the broader world around you. So I hope as you cross the stage today, as you feel what is likely an immense sense of change around you, you take great confidence in being part of a timeless experience of using the liberal arts to deepen your mindset and to enrich your future. And I hope you know that you are part of a very special group that I think will help us in this moment to figure out how we not only continue, but indeed leverage and expand our humanity as we now go into a world where that humanity will be working with and deeply embedded within a machine learning context. And with that, I want to introduce our student speaker. We are thrilled this year to have Dave Mark as our student speaker. Dave is a seasoned global finance leader who spent more than 35 years working in Fortune 500 multinationals, spanning multiple industries, including medical devices and pharmaceuticals. He retired most recently after spending 23 years of his career in various financial leadership positions at Abbott, a global healthcare company with a diverse portfolio of life-changing technologies and revenue of over $40 billion. He also served as board chairman of Abbott Laboratories Employee Credit Union, an independent member-owned financial institution with more than 30,000 members and $1 billion of assets. In retirement, although this doesn't sound like retirement, Dave, he serves on the board of directors of the Fermi Forward Discovery Group, the operator of the Department of Energy's Fermi National Accelerator Laboratory. He also sits on the advisory board for the University of Iowa Institute for International Business, as well as the board of directors of Connect Lake County, an organization focused on improving digital equity for marginalized communities. We are thrilled that he's also going to be joining the Graham Council, where he'll be a continuing advisor to us. He is someone who knows a lot about stamina, not just from his lifelong learning journey, but he's a semi-retired endurance athlete, having completed 10-plus Ironman events, which is very rare to go along with the University of Chicago. We feel like we excel at many things, but I don't know that Ironmen and great books always go together. Dave has put them together. And he is no stranger to the university. He earned his MBA here just a few years prior. With that, Dave, let me welcome you for your remarks.
Thank you, Seth, for that very kind introduction. And I should clarify, I think I'm fully retired as an Ironman now. So good afternoon to everyone. We all enrolled in the MLA program for our own unique reasons. We came from very different places, brought diverse life experiences, and sought to pursue distinctly personal objectives. In my case, I had little or no exposure to the liberal arts, certainly not in the 40 years preceding starting the program, and I was really excited to explore these new areas of study. It was like being an elementary school student again, caught up in the thrill of learning and unconstrained by any particular agenda. I also saw it as an opportunity to facilitate the transition into my post-professional chapter of my life, which is otherwise known as retirement. I'm sure my fellow graduates all have their own stories of what brought them to the MLA program, and hopefully you all enjoyed your time here as much or even more than I did. Regardless of the unique circumstances that brought each of us here, we quickly found ourselves united by a shared quest for knowledge, a desire to expand our understanding of our world. Together we explored the works of many of the greatest minds in human history on a remarkably diverse variety of topics. And through Socratic discussion of these seminal ideas, we gain important insights into our world and ourselves. Guided by our world-class professors, we freely shared dissenting opinions, challenged each other's positions, listened, learned, and grew. We sharpened our critical thinking and communication skills, and we came to see the wisdom of Lao-Tzu, Plato, and Galileo thriving in our modern world. We had truly become students of the liberal arts. Yet, despite having the power to enhance our lives, the liberal arts are still saddled with an unfortunate identity that has existed from its beginning. The liberal in liberal arts was never a political reference, but it also did not connote freedom as we might think. Instead, it had its origin in wealth and privilege. Those who were studying the liberal arts, as opposed to learning a trade, was something accessible only to a fortunate minority, those who were free from having to work. Fast forwarding several millennia, we find that the study of liberal arts is still perceived as a luxury good. Professional and technical degrees offer a much clearer path to a future job, so those who prioritize employment may be less likely to study the liberal arts. And while the benefits of a liberal arts education, something that we all now fully understand, may be understood in certain circles, they still might not be obvious economically to many prospective students. Perhaps unsurprisingly, this underappreciation of the value of a liberal arts education has coincided with a broader deterioration of the principles and associated competencies that underpin the liberal arts. One need only observe the evolution of our political environment over recent decades to see these forces in action. Political parties that once leveraged the best elements of our democratic institutions to find common ground that are now only able to govern on party line votes. Political debate has eroded into megaphone-fueled diatribes delivered to pre-programmed groupies, and supporters of the other party find themselves disinvited from Thanksgiving dinner. The illiberalism manifested in this divisiveness and intolerance is a threat to our society, and that should not be underestimated. We have seemingly lost the ability or the desire to engage in constructive dialogue. Fortunately, we, as new MLA graduates, have acquired certain knowledge and skills that could allow us to help alter this trajectory. First, we learned through our studies that, contrary to the popular narrative, our current situation is not unprecedented. As Mark Twain is alleged to have said, history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. Humankind has struggled with far greater challenges than what we're facing today, and our studies can provide us with insights into the paths forward. And second, having been taught the liberal arts by the finest professors, we understand the power of free, robust, and uninhibited debate and deliberation. In fact, we have the honor of having attended the university so linked to these values that they are almost universally known as the Chicago Principles. So we are not just liberal arts graduates. We are University of Chicago liberal arts graduates, which means we are uniquely qualified and obligated to become ambassadors of the liberal arts and of civil discourse. This may sound like an overwhelming responsibility in today's world, but as we learned from the Tao Te Ching, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So might I suggest the following simple example of how we might apply this in the real world. First, ensure that your gratuitously provocative and generally annoying Uncle Bob is back on the Thanksgiving invitation list. Better yet, maybe even the 4th of July barbecue. Next, choose a controversial and divisive subject of the day. Sadly, there will probably be no shortage of options. And then, following the example of our wonderful professors, lead a Socratic discussion, taking pains to demonstrate the importance of listening. Don't worry if you fail to solve the world's problems. As we know well, the value is in the process and not the result. And finally, repeat, repeat, repeat. My optimistic self believes that civility is every bit as contagious as rage, so it should get easier over time. And much like our experience in the MLA program, we'll continue to learn and grow. We're here today for our personal celebrations of what we have accomplished, and I extend well-deserved congratulations to all of my fellow graduates. But we cannot lose sight of the role that each and every one of us played in this wonderful educational process. We are all part of a very special community. And for this reason, I look forward to crossing paths with many of you in the future as I continue my lifelong learning journey here at the Graham School. But in the meantime, remember that we are all ambassadors of the liberal arts. And by regularly practicing the principles of our liberal arts education, these Chicago principles, we can continue to make ourselves better citizens while enhancing the strength and resilience of our society. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave, for those beautiful remarks and the hope for civic and civil dialogue. And I now want to come to our alumni address. We are very honored to have Linda Levin with us. And Linda is a remarkable architect for more than 40 years. She graduated from the program just over a decade ago. And she has worked on a number of the most significant historical renovations in our city, including iconic buildings like 224 South Michigan, 111 West Washington, the Chicago Theater, and beyond. She has also civically served the JUF, the Civic Ballet of Chicago, the Red Moon Theater, and the Florence G. Heller Jewish Community Center. So she has a big role that she has played in Chicago. And she also, and I saw wonderful photos of this, designed and oversaw construction of a new home that she now lives in Tucson, that is a passive solar home, which is a very unique architectural gem. Alongside her incredible leadership in architecture, she also is a very deeply embedded part of our community at the University of Chicago. Alongside the MLA degree, her relationship spans decades. She grew up at Lab, later served as project chair for the chapel addition and house renovation. She's also the parent of 2 Lab lifers, undertaking several roles and responsibilities in our Parents Association. So she is part of our School of Lifelong Learning, which is sometimes considered to be the older community of the university. And she's also deeply embedded in the Lab School, which is the younger community of the university. So she spans the entire university, and we're grateful for her remarks this afternoon. Linda.
So thank you, Seth, for that very kind and generous introduction. Good afternoon, distinguished faculty, staff, celebrated graduates, your families, friends, and colleagues. It is truly an honor and privilege to be with you today. So, truth be told, when Seth invited me to speak at the ceremony, my first thought was, he must be on glue. I replied with something like, are you sure this invitation was not meant for someone else? While I am indeed a champion of the U of C, its high academic standards and commitment to lifelong learning, and while yes, I did earn my own MLA degree here 13 years ago, I never thought I would be considered worthy to speaking to people who are far more scholarly and more accomplished than I. It is therefore highly unlikely that my words today will impart anything profound or memorable. However, I will endeavor to be coherent. When my second child began college in 2010, I stumbled upon the Graham School while searching the U Chicago website. A glowing account of its offerings written by Julie Marie Lemon jumped out at me. Julie was someone I knew as another Lab parent. She earned her MLA degree in 2007. After reading her highly favorable review, I intuitively knew the program would fill an educational gap and close a circle in my life. Her enthusiasm gave me the fuel I needed to cash out some stock, set aside a deep fear of admissions rejection, lace up some Nikes, and just do it. So, what educational gap did my MLA experience fill? During my tenure in architecture school at Arizona State University, a liberal arts core was not part of the curriculum at all. Elements of design, yes. Structures, of course. Architectural history, yes. But those were really only in the context of absorbing what would be necessary to pass the architectural licensing exams 3 years after graduation. I knew of Marx, Emerson, and Rousseau, vaguely, but reading them, along with Darwin, Nietzsche, and the Kama Sutra, those were a far cry from learning to calculate a structural moment, estimate the coefficient of thermal transmission through a wall, or evaluate sustainable building materials based upon composition nuances, performance durability, and desired visual characteristics. Suffice it to say, my liberal arts core was a blank slate. This became blatantly clear when my firstborn spoke about the course she was immersed in at Columbia University. 2 distinct MLA memories stand out. The first took place very early in my studies. After reading Hamlet and embarking upon the writing assignment, I suggested to the late Professor David Bevington that a segment of Act 2 was unnecessary. Thankfully, I chose to do this at a private consult with him before taking that delusional thought any further. He, however, was extremely gracious in asking me, "So, Linda, how do you come to that argument?" all the while steadily pouring me a cup of tea with a subtle smile on his face. Checkmate. The second memory was an assignment from Stephen Meredith. The course was The Problem with Evil. After taking a deep dive into Aquinas, Augustine, Hume, and Kant, the class was given a short passage to read about a mother deer and her offspring in the woods. We were posed this question to consider and answer. If only one can live, should it be the doe or the fawn? Now, as a Jewish person, one would think the answer would be easy for me. As a mother, not so much. To this day, we continue to grapple with the question of who should decide life. Depth, here in this institution, where one is required to think hard, to apply one's thoughts, and to weave them together is extraordinary. You all know this. In the work I do as an architect, albeit one who has traveled under the radar of notoriety, I'm a bit of a stickler for depth in the form of detail execution. The next time you use a public toilet, throw an eye at its surroundings. Look at the tile. See if joint lines on the floor align with those on the walls. See if that tile is evenly distributed in both directions, or if there is a full tile at one end with a smaller tile at the opposite end. These are design decisions, as minuscule as they might seem, that make a difference in the net result. In the words of Aristotle, excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. Depth of detail is present, yet often disregarded in the built environment. Look for yourself. Through the MLA experience, I became more detail-driven than I ever was before. I am more energized to question and dive into minutia. I strive to better understand how other people come to and hold on to their opinions, particularly those that differ from mine. On a personal level, the program provided an exceptional connection to the U Chicago community by forming relationships with those who shared the MLA program with me. In the span of 3 years, I met incredible people from all walks of life. Not only am I able to appreciate, embrace, and promote the importance of lifelong learning, I have a cadre of friends with whom I will always share a special bond. These are incredible gifts for which I am deeply grateful. As for closing that circle, because my family moved away from Chicago in 1969, I was basically yanked away from this campus and the rigor in which I had grown up. Decades later, though, I stand before you, back where I started, far more enriched and enlightened and appreciative of the experience of having made the decision to master a degree from the U of C. Thankfully, 15 years ago, my application was accepted. To this year's graduates, your families and friends, I extend my heartfelt congratulations on all of your accomplishments. I welcome you into a continuation of engagement and lifelong learning, however you choose to carry that forward. Thank you all for indulging me today. And keep in mind, joint lines matter.
Thank you, Linda, for those wonderful reflections. And it's now my honor to introduce our faculty speaker. And one of the things that both Linda and Dave have referenced is that we have truly the best faculty in the world. And even amidst that world-class faculty, David Ray stands out as being someone who loves the rigor and the excitement and the emotionality of texts. He is an associate professor in the Department of Classics, the Department of Comparative Literature, and the college. His research and teaching interests include Hellenistic and Roman poetry, Greek epic and tragedy, Roman philosophy, ancient and modern relations between literature and philosophy, gender, theory and practice of literary translation, and the reception of Greco-Roman thought and literature from Shakespeare and Corneille to Pound and Zukofsky. He is a member of the Poetry and Poetics program and the author of Catalyst and the Poetics of Roman Manhood and a co-editor of Seneca and the Self. Professor Ray.
Thank you, Seth. As a member of the faculty of the University of Chicago and as someone who has had the privilege of teaching in the Master of Liberal Arts program for more than 2 decades now, the first thing I want to say today is thank you. Thank you, newly conferred or newly to be conferred Masters of Liberal Arts. And thank you, friends, family members, and other significant persons in the life of today's graduates, because your share in the labor of this collective endeavor makes you sharers in the achievements and the threshold crossings that we celebrate today. As someone whose students at Chicago regularly range in age from high schoolers to octogenarians, I find it easy to say, and I get asked this, what I appreciate so much about teaching year after year in the MLA program. Aristotle in the Nicomachean Ethics observes that while young people can often be very brilliant at subjects like geometry or music, they are generally not so brilliant at ethics, simply because they're not yet ready for it, no matter how smart they are. Aristotle thinks that this is because ethical study, and by that I mean the study of how to live and how to flourish as human beings, and this includes things like the ethical study of literature, is a kind of knowledge that you simply cannot acquire without experience. And by experience, we mean living in the world with a measure of freedom, a measure of autonomy, where you make your own decisions and live the outcomes of those decisions in community with other people, as leaders, collaborators, companions, associates, and intimates. As MLA students, you bring a wholehearted intellectual zeal to your studies that you share with each other as well as with your faculty instructors. But you also bring experience-based practical wisdom about human life. This means that in our courses, when we read and study philosophy or literature from ancient Greece or Rome or India or China or elsewhere, we are able to read and reflect interactively together with a very deep level of human understanding that is both critical and empathic. It just may be the case that critical thinking and empathy are 2 ways of describing the same inner cognitive and affective process, a process of not knowing, a process of being attentive and patient, asking questions and remaining open at every point to revised understanding based on deepening insight. As students in this program, your coursework and thesis projects almost always engage in some way with your own personal growth paths in living, in leading, and in cultivating our shared humanity in ways that enrich your own life and enrich the lives of all your intersecting communities. Today, as we celebrate your completion of a course of study leading to the degree of Master of Liberal Arts, we are also co-creating together a ritual enactment, an ancient ceremony that performatively sends you forth, but also welcomes you in. As graduates, you are now lifelong participants in this academic community and the worldwide community of scholars. You now have a share and a place in a cultural institution extending far back into distant antiquity, not just to the medieval European origins of the university, but to a set of far more ancient origins, including an idea of our shared humanness, a humanness shared by all human beings as our highest civilizational aspiration. At what I hope is a joyous moment in your life and in what is beyond doubt a critical moment in the life of the world, I want to close with two ancient sayings, one from ancient Rome and one from ancient Beijing. Sayings that embody and express a collective striving toward cultivating our shared humanness that is at the root of our shared endeavor as university academics. The comic playwright Terence was born in Africa early in the 2nd century before the Common Era. After he was captured into slavery and brought to Rome, the master who had bought him recognized his talents and freed him. According to some accounts, Terence became a central literary figure in the circle of the Roman general and politician Scipio Aemilianus. Latin must have been his second or possibly third language. Later readers in antiquity and the Renaissance prized his writing as a model of speech that was highly elegant and refined, but also ordinary, not flashy or flowery. By far the most famous line from his theater is in the first act of a comedy called The Self-Tormentor. The verse says, "I am a human being. I consider nothing that is human to be foreign to me." In the context of the play, the line has a very comical meaning because it's spoken by a nosy neighbor who wants to know what his neighbor is up to. But one ancient source tells us that when this line was spoken in performance, the entire audience rose to its feet to give a standing ovation to this verse as an expression of the Stoic teaching that as fellow citizens of the cosmos, cosmopolitan, we are all inextricably interwoven, interrelated, and included in a circle of friendship that links all beings together and makes our well-being and our thriving mutually interdependent. The author of the second saying was a 12th and 13th century Chan Buddhist monk whose many travels through China as a teacher took him to a practice space called 10,000 Pines, which is Wansong in Chinese, and this became the name that he was later known by, the Old Man of 10,000 Pines. When Mongols sacked the city now called Beijing in 1215, Wansong was living there because the emperor had favored him and appointed him as a kind of national teacher. When the imperial court fled from the Mongol invaders, Wansong stayed put where he was and continued to offer teaching to anyone of any origin who wished to receive it. Sometime after his 80th birthday, as his death was approaching, Wansong followed the Buddhist tradition of writing a death gatha, a sort of short verse upon signing out of one's life. This is what Wansong wrote as his final teaching. 80 years of life, just this one saying: value and respect all persons, and you'll never make a false move. Dear friends and colleagues, let us cultivate our humanity together. Congratulations to the Spring 2025 graduates of the University of Chicago Graham School Master of Liberal Arts program.
Thank you, David, for those beautiful remarks and that sentiment of how the liberal arts can enrich our connection and deepen our humanity. And now it is the time we've been waiting for, the presentation of the diplomas, and I'm going to call up our director of the Master of Liberal Arts, Tim Murphy. Tim joined us in 2015. He is no stranger to the university before that, though. He got his undergraduate degree here in American history and then came for his MA around political history. And so I'll ask Tim to come forward, and then we will be presenting your degrees over here. Tim.
It is my honor to present these students who have completed the program of studies prescribed by the faculty of the William B. and Catherine V. Graham School of Continuing Liberal and Professional Studies. They have been awarded the degree Master of Liberal Arts by the Board of Trustees. Will the recipients of the degree Master of Liberal Arts please rise and proceed to the stage to receive your degree?
Daniel Brutman. Jessica Campbell. Maria Chivas. Jacqueline Flores. Dave Mark. Tanuja Prasad. Fred Quijada. Timothy Roberts. Evan Sanger.
And it's now my pleasure to call up Michelle Libby. Michelle is our Dean of Students. She is also a lifelong learner. She's currently getting her MBA at the Booth School, and we have been overjoyed to have her on our team after years of experience and talent and HR in some of the larger corporations. She's come with those incredible skills and mixed that with a deep commitment to the liberal arts and to our vision of transformative education. Michelle.
Good afternoon. As our celebration draws to a close, I want to take a moment to reflect on what this day signifies. Today marks the culmination of an extraordinary journey, a journey defined by intellectual curiosity, resilience, and a commitment to the rigorous examination of a purposeful life. Each of you brought something special to this program. You each carry your own stories, your own wisdom, and your own passion for exploration. This group of students has enriched the university's academic community in ways that will have a lasting legacy. And while the end of this academic chapter signals yet another beginning, I urge you to carry the spirit of the Graham School with you. The commitment to lifelong learning, to courageously questioning the status quo, and to boldly engaging with the ideas that challenge and inspire us. To the family and loved ones present, your unwavering support has made this moment possible. Graduation is a shared achievement, so to you, we express our gratitude for the role you've played in helping these graduates succeed. To my colleagues, the faculty and staff who have inspired, encouraged, and walked alongside these graduates, You have been the architects of intellectual transformation, and I thank you for your dedication and contributions. It is my sincere pleasure to congratulate our graduates on your accomplishments and to formally welcome you to the University of Chicago's unparalleled alumni community. I look forward to welcoming you back to the university through alumni programs and events, and I speak on behalf of all of my colleagues when I say that we look forward to witnessing the incredible futures you will build. Thank you, and I wish you all the best on your journey forward.